Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Starlight Archive, the best Griffin High Republic podcast this side of Mulita. Today we are visited with our guest host, Reychel of Jakku, who also has a podcast on print media in Star Wars, primarily focused on the High Republic, which is called The Sacred Texts. I'm Bryce Rankins, this is Brian Romero.
Hello.
And this is Reychel.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you here. We haven't gotten to talk to you really I don't think we've actually talked with our voices really since our WonderCon recap on Sneaky Geek.
Yeah. Besides the Acolyte and the screening. Acolyte screening
yes,
afterwards.
We've seen you in
Oh
person.
my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
yes,
We've
I
hung
have
up, but we haven't
seen
talked
you.
on
Yeah.
podcast.
We have seen each other in the
Wow.
last like,
And Skeleton
8
Crew.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and we saw
right.
each other for Skeleton Crew. Okay, we saw each other in like
Wow.
December. Okay, we're terrible.
What is time?
But we haven't
You know,
podcasted together.
We
That
haven't
is true.
podcasted
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Totally different
Right,
thing.
okay.
I'm like segmenting my brain apparently.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's not High Republic, but that doesn't exist.
Acolyte
Yes, we
is
have
High
seen
Republic
you.
adjacent.
Totally
yes, that's
is.
true.
Yeah.
And Skeleton Crew was just December, but like you've been to Japan since then.
It's true. Yep.
So, and you can hear all about that in our little one-off episode about Reychel and how cool she is. Today, however, we are talking about the High Republic comics produced by Marvel, and we're going to talk about those that happen in Wave 2 in Phase 1, and they're kind of a kickoff of Wave 2, the Starlight story notwithstanding. And the first two that we're going to talk about, Issue 6 and Issue 7, happen before the events of the Rising Storm.
Yep.
We're not going to go into all of the, like, here's all the things you need to know and be spoiler free. This is a spoiler packed episode. Beware, here there be spoilers. So if you are looking to read this and don't want to be spoiled, don't listen to this episode until afterwards, and then do, and you can be part of our lovely conversation about how much we liked it and all the other things. Before you go into these comics, however, you should probably have read Marvel Comics issues 3 through 5, if not 1 through 5. I'm
might
a
as well
1
since
through
you're
5
there.
guy. Brian and I had a full argument about whether or not issue
1 and 2.
So I think issues 1 and 2 are part of Act 1
Oh, you said Drengir story.
of the overall Drengir story.
Okay.
In the same way that you need to see Luke whining about Tashi Station before we start really looking at the Death Star. We don't see the Death Star until like a third of the way through the movie.
that's all part of the movie.
It's the end of Act 1 of this 3-act structure. My argument is that issues 1, 2, and 3 are Act 1 of the Drengir story, and issues 4 and 5 are Act 2, and this issues 6, 7, and 8 are Act 3.
Definitely 6, 7, and 8 are more cohesive out of the bundle. Yeah.
Brian, however, felt that if
Because
you're
I'm
going
like,
to do
no,
the Drengir story,
I'm like, no, part 1 of the Drengir story is Into the Dark.
Into the Dark, sure. But like part 1 of the Drengir arc in the comics, to Brian,
Which I didn't
was
realize
issue
because he
3.
didn't say that at first. So I was off on a different tangent. We were both on different tangents.
Okay.
So we wanted your opinion on this.
My God.
And neither of us are that married to our own idea that you have to side one way or the other. But obviously, if you side with Brian, I'll hate you forever. But do you think Sskeer knighting Keev and then having his realization that he can't feel the Force, and then the subsequent episode with Keev, the issue 2, do you think those are part of the overall Drengir story?
So I would say it differently. I would say that the Drengir is a different thing than like the character development between Sskeer and Keev, because to me, like 1 and 2 play very important roles to what happens in 3, 4, and 5.
Absolutely.
But we don't have the Drengir then at that point. So it's kind of like,
See, that's where I'm at with it.
I remember when I first read 1 and 2, and I had already read Light of the Jedi, and I was talking to my friend Frankie, and
Shout out, Frankie.
Yeah.
Hello, Frankie.
and she was talking about how the Drangir were a really big part of the High Republic comics, and I hadn't gotten to that part yet. And I was like, yeah, you mean the Nile. And you literally just like read about the Nile in, what is it, the first issue. And then that's all you hear about the Nile for the rest, pretty much the rest of the segment. And you're just like, wait, where did they go? So yeah, I guess
in another book.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say, if we want to say Drangir is for sure 3, 4, 5, but I think the importance of 1 and 2 for the story for Sskeer and Keev, you have to have 1 and 2 be included in that, because otherwise I don't think 1 and 2 really like exist well on their own.
Yeah, and I feel like 1 and 2
they're just solid intro stories.
They
too,
are, yeah.
They're not, I don't want to say they're not good enough, but they're not complete enough.
I agree.
To really be on their own. If you're going to read 1 and 2, it's because you are reading the Keev and Sskeer
just
story.
keep going.
And not to jump ahead too far, but the reason that 6 and 7 end with some level, some modicum of success is because of Keev and Skeer's connection.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There's some of the best character work in this entire
really important.
High Republic.
So
thing.
having their backstory, I mean, maybe it's more like one of those .1 comics that Marvel does, where they're like, here, now you have this little intro, or like the Prelude to stories that they'll sometimes do, where they're like, hey, Avengers is coming out. Here's a comic that kind of preludes everything. But issues 1 and 2 feel like a very necessary prelude if you want a full cohesive story. Because to me, the Drangir story is the Sskeer Keev story.
And I really like 1 and 2 because they really set you up for what the High Republic is like, what the Jedi specifically are like in this era. And the vast number of Jedi at Starlight Beacon at the end of 2 is just unbelievable. And the whole like ceremony process is so different than what we've seen in the Skywalker saga. So to me, it was like setting up to kind of give you a vibe for like, who are these Jedi? And like, and then because you take that's like the pre-Nile, the pre-Drangir. And then as we go through all of these like situations, we kind of get to see how the Jedi change from the High Republic to what the Skywalker saga is, and how those things kind of like help form those changes.
Big time. Oh yeah.
I feel like Wave 2 especially is the beginning of the end of the High Republic for the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like that's when we start to really see their resolve tested. That's when you start seeing a lot of Jedi like questioning the Order in a way that, not that questioning is necessarily inherently bad, but the Jedi begin to sort of fail each other during this entire High Republic story. And whether it be the Order covering certain things up, or, you know, I don't want to get too into spoiler territory, obviously, but I feel like this particular story, especially with Keev and the hints that we have about what might happen to Keev by the end of everything that we've already seen in media before the High Republic even came out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, we were promised this is the height of the Jedi, and I don't think any of us heard the subtext, which is you can only go down from here.
Exactly. I did not think about that at all going into the High Republic.
Yeah.
It's like, yay, Jedi being Jedi. And you're like,
oh no.
They already were Jedi being Jedi. Ooh.
I think that's why I like Phase 2 so much. They're still at the height there, and there's these little things going on. Yeah, there's the Battle of Jeddah, but like there's battles off and on, whatever. But here it's just like nonstop, like Drangir, Nihil, things happening left and right.
Yeah.
And then in the interview, the last roundtable of the High Republic writers that they put in StarWars.com this week, they were talking about how at this point where we are right now, where we're talking, this was kind of a point where it was, who is the enemy in this story?
Yeah.
Like, who's your big bad? Is it Markion? Is it the Drangir? Is it the Great Progenitor? Is it like the Nile? Is it these other things? Like, what is actually your bad guy here? For a minute, it felt like I wasn't sure that they knew, but clearly, I mean, they obviously had a plan the whole time. But around this time in the comics too, because of the way the comics came out, I feel like reading them back to back to back to back, I kind of forgot that these are happening over months.
Yeah,
these are coming out over months. So like, we'll get to a moment at the end of issue 8, way later. But when we get to that, there's a line that Astala Maru says, and I was reading it a second time. I was like, oh, right. You guys in the comics didn't really know about that, because we've been getting all these chapters about Mark Ro the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And we knew what was going on. But when he's like, oh no, this has happened. Reading it, I'm like, yeah, how did you not know that was going to come? Right.
You didn't read the book?
You didn't read the book?
Yeah.
Come on, Stalo. What are you doing?
What's your problem?
Yeah. Anyway, so you have to read, you don't have to read anything. But like, if you want the context for this, you need to know what happened in Into the Dark with the 4 statues.
Absolutely.
And
That's where the Drengir...
Reith and Orla and Dez and Comac were all palling around on the Amaxine station with their new favorite friend Nan, and they took
And
some
Geode.
statues off. Yeah, Geode, the sexiest man in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Leox, his friend, and Affy.
Fred.
But yeah, they all took big old statues off the station, took them to the underbelly of the Jedi Temple, and said, "Hey, wait a minute! There's no evil on these things at all. That means all the evil they were steeped in was what they were holding back. Shoot!"
Yeah.
And they took them back, and the Drengir had already come alive, and Des Rydan got Scooby-Dooed along with a bunch. He got stuck on a door, Scooby-Doo style, and he got launched off with these beasts called Drengir, and then in the issues 3 through 5, the Drengir are being fought back by the Jedi Order. Avar Kriss teams up with the Hutts, much to the chagrin of every other Jedi,
Of the
apparently.
Jedi, yeah.
Like, Stellan's real mad about it.
Of course, Stellan is really mad about it. I mean, he follows the council, and everyone's like, you must not join the Hutts. Like, we are the Jedi. The Hutts have this, code that we do not agree with. So,
Because they're gangsters?
yeah, 100%. So,
Vile gangsters, you might say.
but I mean, it's hard because I kind of understand Avar's perspective, and I'm like, it gets the job done. We've got
It
a
makes
bigger
sense.
enemy at this point, so why not work together? But I think when you're at the council and when you're Stellan, who just pretty much hangs out on the council, then it's hard to empathize and kind of see that perspective.
Yeah.
He's not on the ground floor.
And he's
true.
always been the rule follower.
100%.
Of them.
Yes.
And at this point, Elzar's kind of off doing her own thing, and she's very much pushed Elzar away.
Elzar?
Avar has.
Yes, you said
Pushed-
Elzar.
No, Elzar has. Avar has pushed Elzar away.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think when they're together, they make each other better, as we saw in Light of the Jedi. And then she's kind of like, Elzar, what are you doing? Why are you trying to dance with me like this? You need to calm down. And so Avar's kind of pushed away the people who really center her, which are
Yeah, her
Stellan,
support
who is
system.
up
Yeah.
his own butt about the rules of the Jedi, and Elzar, who is off moping because Avar,
Said
laughed
no.
off his advances.
Yeah.
And announced his current status in the friend zone. And when they're away from Avar, I think that's when Avar starts to get some blinders on.
Yeah.
I think. And that I feel like that lends itself to her not just her willingness to join up with the Hutts, but her willingness to do so with very few conditions. And in these 2 issues, we see a lot of her being like, hey, we can't do it that way. And the Hutts being like, why did you bring us on then?
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Totally.
We're Hutts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Hu Yang thing. Like, you're stronger together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't split up.
Yeah. Hasn't she seen a horror movie? What's she doing? But anyway, so you need to see those 3. Is there anything else that happens? Because the Drengir story, as soon as Into the Dark is done.
I guess the other important aspect is how Sskeer was impacted by the Drengir. He was overcome, and so now he's basically in this stasis, and Keev is trying to find out how to cure him. And of course, Sskeer also has this disconnect from the Force, and people are wondering whether it's connected to the Drengir thing or what's the deal with that. So I think that's another important plot for moving forward to these next issues.
Yeah. And Sskeer is currently sans one of his arms, which he lost in the Battle of Kerr while he was flirting with Jorah Mali. And that flirtatious side of Sskeer will come up later. We'll talk about that in a bit. So the Marvel Comics 6 and 7 are the heart of the Drengir, and it's written by Cavan Scott.
Yeah.
And it was the art was by Georges Jonti and Carl Story inker, and Annalisa Leone did the colors. So the whole team, honestly, beautiful work.
Yeah.
The artwork in these 2 is great. Although there is one particular panel which I feel is worth mentioning, and it's when the Drengir shove roots up the Rancor's nose.
Oh, that
And
is
suddenly,
horrific.
Avar, it is, but also in that same image, for all the beauty and detail of that horror, Avar is on the side looking like she's from the Adventures of Tintin.
Is that issue 8?
Issue 6.
Oh.
In issue 6.
It is so good.
All the faraways. I love Rancor. Rancor is one of my favorite things. Mm-hmm. The writing Rancor was a
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
It was a variant cover for one of these, wasn't it? Or was that the main
No,
cover?
it's the A cover.
Oh, the A cover is her
Yeah.
writing a Rancor, which is incredible. And then page 2 Rancor, either Sarret or Tarek. I don't know which one of them is which. I apologize to them both. Both writing armored Rancor with Miarga the Hutt and her cool
Such a cool splash page.
Little sled.
armored arms
Yeah.
and on her little floating sled so that she can move at
so
breakneck
good.
speed. Like that splash page.
Yeah. So pretty. Spit coming from the Rancor's mouth. It's like
It's it's
detail.
just gorgeous. It's beautiful.
With a majestic sunset or sunrise in the background. Can't decide which
Oh,
one.
yeah. Yeah.
Right, yeah. For every Adventures of Tintin background face that does show up in this issue, there's 10 gorgeous panels somewhere else that you're just like, oh my god, that's incredible. The visualization for the Drengir in this is phenomenal.
They are terrifying.
They are
yeah.
The plants
And
with
this is-
beaks is just such an awful image. I like
Right.
it, but it works so well. It's so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all of my Jumanji nightmares.
My God, yes, 100%.
Yeah. And I think this is the first time, because the first big Drengir story was a novel. Mm-hmm. This is the first big introduction visually wise.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them obviously on the planet where Sskeer first got, them up in his face.
Yeah, they fought him in the last arc, but this one.
But
is
they're
just,
in caves in that, and these full battles with the Hutts on their side now, and
Totally. And it was hard to see because when they're in the caves, you just saw pieces, and it was hard to envision what was the cave and what was plants and what was actually the Drengir. And now that you see them running around, you're
this
just like,
whole huge thing.
wow.
Yeah.
yeah, if you have a fear of centipedes or millipedes because they have too many legs, a bunch of roots flapping around moving these horrifying beaked creatures will definitely get you.
It's crazy. And another thing I wanted to ask either of you, since it's a little bit more fresh in your minds, we know that the Nile have spread the Drengir around now, especially in phase 3. Now, do they talk about that in phase 1? Do they explain when the Nile take the Drengir seeds and start spitting them around?
You see it in Race to Crash Point Tower.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Because the Nihil show up and Ram sees them, and they're getting in the way of the. This is huge spoilers for Race to Crash Point Tower, but Ram gets a hold of the communications array and gets it up and running again because they had sabotaged it.
Yeah.
And Ram and Vern end up basically beating the Drengir by convincing them that
right. The Nihil are going to screw them over.
The Nihil had screwed them over.
Got it.
And
Got
this is
it.
kind of that
I had
point when
totally
they're
forgotten
like,
about that.
Bad meat. You're right.
But I think that's pretty much the only instance where we see it or read about it that they're actually seeding them. They're like, oh yeah, we've seeded them. It's a thing.
They
We've done
keep
it.
mentioning
Yeah.
it in phase 1.
But we haven't
toward
actually
the later half, but the only time we have any potential evidence, it's circumstantial, but it's the fact that the Nihil were on Valo, and the Drengir basically admit that they have a deal with the Nile.
Yeah.
It's crazy because the comic starts off with people running from Drengir, and you kind of get the vibe that Drengir are not just on one planet anymore. They're on countless planets, and that this Drengir problem has spread and it's become this uncontrollable problem. And behind the scenes is now we know that the Nile are the ones behind this spread, that they're taking these Drengir and flinging them around, trying to get the Jedi to be as confused
Just
about
distracted.
about what's going on. It's such a cool tactic.
It isn't until I think the later half of wave 1 of phase 3 that we really get any details of how it happened and what the deal was. Anyway, so yeah, it's definitely set on later how these Drengir are being seeded throughout the galaxy, but they also were present on multiple planets. And we saw that in the first 5 issues when the Drangir kind of came to life, the beacon got an overwhelming like cries for help, and Astalamaru's like, I'm trying to navigate it. The Drangir are everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think they're largely in the frontier planets in the Outer Rim. It's not like, somebody, if they are on Coruscant, nobody knows because they're 1,000 floors below them. There's just like Drangir running around screaming for meat, and no one is there because everyone's
Wait, I love this.
Above.
This is a terrific story. The Drangir just like wrecking havoc on Coruscant.
Yeah, and then but nobody sees it because it's all on the floor. It's like that one episode of the Jetsons where like somebody throws like litter and it lands on like one dude at the bottom of the spire.
Oh my god, I don't think I have enough memories of the Jetsons to remember that one.
There's like one, and I was like, oh, well, that's what's at the bottom down there. Okay.
The end.
But yeah, I feel like the Drangir were started in like the unknown regions, wild space area, and just kind of like spread out from there. And that's why, because I don't think they really made it to the core worlds. I could be wrong, but I don't.
There's not a lot of stories about them on the core worlds. Valo, I think, is the closest one, and we are pretty sure that they were intentionally seeded there. Banshee is out in the frontier space. Daikot, or whatever it's called.
The Hut worlds are out.
Nalhada and Nar Shaddaa both are way out in the frontier space. They're all in the Outer Rim, or near to it. They're certainly not near like Naboo. Although Naboo's an Outer Rim world, isn't it?
I think closer.
Naboo is not in the core. That's why, because they have to travel so far to get there. It's not Naboo, sorry. But Coruscant and Halcyon. Not Halcyon. What's his name? From Resistance. He's from there.
Resistance.
I don't remember.
Halcyon Prime.
Hosnian.
Hosnian Prime.
Thank you. Hosnian. Yeah. Hosnian Prime, I want to say, is closer to the core. We never hear any stories about any of those.
Yeah.
It's much more the outskirts, which makes sense because the outskirts are where the Republic is the least defended, because Marchion is kind of trying to make a point that the core worlds protect themselves and aren't necessarily helping the outskirts of their country.
Which is half the point of the Starlight Beacon, to bring help to all those outer galaxy planets.
Lena So, man. She's got great works.
She really does.
So, Skeer's been taken over by the Drangir. He's sick. He's in stasis, basically, so that it slows down the infection of the Drangir that is slowly creeping into his mind. Keev should be helping out Avar with her Drangir problem, but she's not.
She doesn't want to leave Sskeer.
Because she won't leave Sskeer because she's attached to him, which,
What? No,
not supposed to have that, but, that's master and apprentice. That happens.
Do you guys have issues with Keev deciding to stay behind and help Sskeer?
Not at first. I kind of did, and they kind of dive into that a little bit more towards the end of these issues.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense, but it's still just like, oh, okay. Well, you're still young. You're going to do that kind of stuff.
I mean, she's young. She's obviously still attached to Sskeer, and she knows him in a way that I think makes her uniquely fit to help in the situation.
I totally agree. Because I almost felt like Keev needed to be here with Sskeer, and especially when you find out later like how helpful that was.
I mean, the Force works in mysterious ways.
It really, truly does. So I don't know. I really like their bond, and I like that she is willing to ignore rules from other or like orders from other people to follow her gut instincts.
Yeah.
It's kind of way seekery.
I mean, ignoring the rules and like not sticking to protocol is how she passed her Jedi test.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she became a knight not by going and getting the gem from the top of the
aggro crag.
the aggro crag, global gut style, but like instead she went and helped a group, and she swears and she kind of throws decorum to the wind and that kind of thing. So it doesn't seem out of character, and I'm not one to be like, no, all Jedi must act this way, which I know is a certain section of the fandom that can be real mad about that. But like, there comes a point where she and Sskeer do get to talk, and they give each other a great big hug, and he's like, hey, that's not the Jedi way, and she's like, I don't care, and he's like, I don't either.
Like,
totally.
Hey, let's, they acknowledge like, hey, we are closer than we maybe should be, but like, they know that they can only go so far with that kind of parental relationship that they have.
See, for me with the High Republic, I feel like they very often hit this topic of this is the Jedi way, this is not allowed. But you see them, like the Jedi, like synthesize why they shouldn't have attachments or what attachments mean. And they kind of like merge or morph more towards like Kanan's view of being a Jedi, which is like you should be having these connections and it's okay to hug people that you love. And the important thing is,
it's like, otherwise, what are we fighting for?
Exactly.
Why am I protecting you kind of thing? Yeah.
More on this in phase 3 because Yoda has a great conversation about it.
Yeah,
I am obsessed with that conversation.
It's so good. I re-listened to it. I was out walking when I could walk around the neighborhood, and it came up, and I like rewound that section of the audiobook. I'm like, this is gold. This is so good. But more on that much later.
But what, 5 years later?
Yeah. I swear.
Anyway.
So yeah.
So it's been a few months. They've been fighting the Drengir for a little while.
Yeah, there's definitely a time jump noted in the beginning of this issue.
Yeah, which I was not necessarily aware of when I read through it the first time. So I was like, wait, the Drengir issue is like, we're just going to power through this that fast? Like, what? That's crazy. But they've been having these fights for some time. And I think it can be sometimes jarring to go back and forth between the books and the comics because sometimes the comics move so fast.
Yeah.
Because they are coming out every 2 weeks, every month. And it can feel, especially when you're reading them back to back, when you're doing chronological order like I have been, that it sometimes feels as though things are moving. They're moving through the story faster than they need to be. And going back and reading the second time, I don't feel that way anymore, especially about this. Like, I think I really was able to sit with it and understand how long these things were taking.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think you have to kind of keep in mind. And I wish I had kept in mind earlier that, like, there's significant time jumps between some of these issues. Some of them are back to back. Issues 6 and 7, back to back.
Yeah.
But issues 8 to 9, months
Totally.
have happened. Issue
5 to 6.
5 to 6.
5 to 6 months have happened here.
Yeah, they do it in subtle ways. Like, you can tell how exhausted the Jedi are, and like Avar is frantically trying to fight these Drengir and not getting the reinforcement. And then especially with the next scene too, where Master Maru and is like complaining about Avar and like starting to doubt why she's doing the things that she's doing, and then Stellan overhears and he's like, "You don't like Avar either."
Yeah.
I'm pissed at
they're
her.
like, what the heck is she doing?
Yeah. But he does also acknowledge, like, their advance across the frontier is slowing. And there's so much in that line that I don't think I really took into consideration the first time I read it. But, like, you don't talk about the advance of an army in terms of days.
Sure.
Like, this is something that's been happening for months. And they have been taking over these planets in a way that the Jedi can't comprehend. Because they don't, I think at this time, realize that they are being aided. And, you know, Maru's like, pact is a loaded word, Stellan. And Stellan, like, calling it a pact very much shows that he feels that she's in league with the Hutts.
Oh, with the Hutts, yeah.
Instead of like, no, the Hutt space is just on the same side. Like, they're just on the same side.
Totally.
And we see a lot of that point of view in the High Republic Adventures comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the Obertuk and then more vessel stuff, actually.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that with Kevin, who's on the Jedi Hall. But yeah, we see a little bit more of that alliance. And as this goes in, as soon as you see them fighting, like, they're not having quippy fun back and forth like the Avengers, Avar and Mayarga the Hutt.
Yeah, this is...
She's like, hey, no, can't do that. Hey, nope, stop, no, bad.
Yeah. It's almost like for the first couple of months, they're like, okay, you're cute, but no, we can't do that. Now it's just like, I've told you before, we're not going to straight up kill them.
Totally.
Yeah, and the Hutts are like, we've told you before, we're straight up killing them.
Yeah.
The alliance is uneasy at best, and we can see the alliance is breaking down.
100%. I especially love Miarga side-eyeing Avar and going, yes, we're definitely not going to kill them.
Yes,
Totally.
of course. There's definitely a time limit that is kind of, this is a ticking time bomb, this alliance. It's going to collapse if they don't find a solution soon, which does really kind of put the pressure on how this whole scenario is going to be handled.
Right.
The Rancor have been, plugged in, and Keev has been like, you know what? I can't. And Keev's already ignored the like calls to go help out Avar, and she's like, no, I'm going into the stasis field. I'm going in. And
she's following the Force,
in.
guys.
Yeah. The Force is calling, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go link up. And so she plugs herself into the root matrix. And
that's intense.
through Skeer's arm. Yeah.
which goes up into her nose, and that's like the worst part about the Drengir is like if you're involved with the Drengir, they're invading your body in some way.
Yeah.
And it's always so gross.
It truly
So
is.
gross.
And we see that throughout these issues.
Yeah.
It's
like
very
a root will go into a orifice in the face at some point.
Yeah, it's very like alien-esque.
Yeah. Totally is. Yeah.
And then she winds up in the root mind, which incidentally looks like
Roots.
underground root cellar.
Yeah.
Like there's roots everywhere, and it's really weird, but sure enough, Sskeer is there, and he's like, hey, yeah, been hanging out. The Matrix gets a white room, and I get,
The Matrix.
this
is a
cave
white
full of
room.
roots.
Yeah.
But that's when, she hugs him, and he says, this is not the Jedi way, and she says, I don't care. And he says, neither do I.
It's so cute, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
so
it's
cute.
great.
And like and he's got both of his arms, which is nice.
Well, that he does. Yeah. While all this is going on, the rest of the Jedi are fighting the Drengir, and Sarah or Tarek, I can't tell which one. Sorry, buddies. They find a whole bunch of villagers strung up and dead because the Drengir sucked all their nutrients from them for themselves. And so they're like, whoa, this is going crazy. And then a Drengir ends up getting to the Rancor that Avar was riding on, sadly. And so they're huge old battle going on.
It's really impressive to see Drengir occupy the mind of such a large animal like a Rancor. It kind of makes you think, like, are there any limitations to the Drengir? Like,
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is serious.
can they like inhabit the Zillo Beast or something really crazy,
yeah.
you know?
Or Purgil or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Purgil. Oh my God, yes.
Oh, that would be bad.
That would be so sad.
That'd be so bad.
It'd be like vines and tentacles.
Yeah.
Yeah, just where does one tentacle start and one
Vine. Oh.
yeah. Oh gosh. So yeah, they're going through their war. Things are obviously heating up, and again, there's this tension that's happening with Mayarga as well. But they're definitely on the defensive at this point. This fight is not going in the favor of this team up. Then they're like, "Hey, wait, Keev, where's Keev?" And that's when Orbalin and Astalamaru start talking. Like, "Oh snap, Keev went in."
Yeah.
And Avar is like, hey, the Song of the Force that the Drengir put off, because Avar has the Song of the Force thing. She senses the Force through various harmonies and discordance, etc. And she's like, wait, there's notes in there that shouldn't be in there, because she hears, obviously, the Drengir's harpsichord now has been infected by Keev's oboe.
That's crazy.
I don't know exactly how that works, but
Makes sense. But she senses Keev through the Drengir, and she's like, this isn't right. Where's Keev?
yeah. And Orbalin and Astalamaru are like trying really hard to prevent this moment in the stasis chamber, because like the roots aren't supposed to be moving within the stasis chamber, but they have moved and are holding her up basically by her neck, and she's just like hovering,
Hanging out.
with Skeer's arm in the air, just holding them. So they're panicking because they're like, uh-oh, things are happening inside the room that's not supposed to have happening things happen in it.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point, Orbalin and Istalu are like trying to use the Force to break them up. And so inside the root mind, Keev and Sskeer see the roots retreating. So they're like, we need to grab on. I don't know why, but we should grab on just in case. And they do.
Yeah, they're going where they need to go.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time we realized that the Drengir are all connected to this hive mind, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Sskeer is teaching and showing Keev how there's like this great mother, the one, and how he's trying to find it. And so both Keev and Sskeer are trying to find it, but the Great Progenetor, I don't know if they announced the name yet, but the Great Progenetor is like resisting them. And so that's where Maru
Yes, kind of.
and Orbalin are trying to help them and work together so that they can eventually find where the Great Progenetor is actually located.
Yeah, and when they finally do, they wind up in the beautiful little splash. I mean, it's not 100% a splash page, but this beautiful big old splash piece of they're in like a rainstorm.
It's
Yeah.
so
And-
cool.
The big old mama, the like I've said in this podcast multiple times that the Drengir are basically Plantzilla.
Yeah.
Plantzilla. Yeah.
But the Great Progenitor is like actually Plantzilla.
Yeah, massive.
Like,
huge.
look at the size of this thing. Like, they, being a very large Trandoshan, and Keev being a normal-sized human being, both are smaller than this thing's tongue.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this thing is humongous. And there's some, like, back and forth, true, and it's also pretty criffin big. Very quickly, Keev realizes, like, oh, wait a minute. If we're all in your head, like, I'm not stuck in here with you.
Yeah.
You're stuck in here with me. And she starts, like, trying to figure out where this
planet is.
yeah, where are they?
Yeah.
That they're seeing this thing. What is this storm that we're seeing? Because this is no longer some, like, weird ethereal white room Matrix thing.
Yeah.
We're in a physical place. This creature is somewhere physical, and she can sense it. And so she starts looking, and the Great Progenitor's like, no, don't do that. And, you know, the roots need to be protected. And then Sskeer grabs his real arm in this fake world, and simultaneously in the real world grabs his Groot arm that's on there that has been growing out of him, and he just rips the entire system out.
It's crazy.
It's so
It was
gross.
such a
He's just like, you're not hurting my former Padawan.
Well, it's a combination. To me, it also seems like the Great Progenitor is trying to disconnect from this whole situation because it does not want any of the Jedi to know where it's located. And like the concept of Keev trying to mind connect with the Great Progenitor, which is like a very dark-sided entity for a Jedi, must be so painful. So like
I'm very unexpected. Like neither one of them knew what to expect from the other one.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you can tell that Keev is taking advantage of a situation that the Great Progenitor was not prepared for.
Yeah.
And she's not at all, like, she's like, oh no, I made a mistake. Oh god, these Jedi are way better than I thought they were.
Yeah.
And like they're steeped in the dark side. And we see this in Into the Dark when Des Raiden kind of becomes a sort of tool of the root mind. Des goes so dark side, and when he finally comes out of it, like, he's stripped of all the force access that he has. Like, he can't feel it, which is why he ends up taking the barrage vow.
Yep.
So he can figure out what the heck just happened. But like, these things are steeped in dark side, and there's something much more sinister about their understanding and their connection to the force. And like, we've seen this before. We saw this in Dooku Jedi Lost, in the cave that Sifo Dyas and Dooku, and Sifo Dyas' master, whose name escapes.
Which is also written by Kevin Scott.
It's also written by Kevin Scott. That there are just these places, and those, of course, harken back to the tree on Dagobah. Like, there are these thing, also a plant. Maybe they're related. I don't know. Maybe that's making an assumption. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, tree on plant. On Dagobah. But like, there are these places and these living things that are steeped in the dark side, that it's not purely out of like selfishness. It is just sort of what they are.
It's their nature.
Yeah. And I think the Drengir, while they are very sinister in all that, I think their connection to the dark side may also be feeding into why they are so sinister and dastardly in the way that they are. But
Could be.
I think for Keev to just be in there and connected,
Huge shock.
likely going to have some repercussions as far as her, because this, again, it goes two ways, which means that the Great Progenitor has been in Keev's mind and has rooted around in there, as it were. And Keev has been in the Great Progenitor's mind and has seen atrocities innumerable.
And do you think Keev being in the Great Progenitor's mind has caused impacts? Because like this next segment where Avar is like fighting these Drengir and all of a sudden they start screaming makes me wonder, like, what happened to the Great Progenitor? Like, did she not only disconnect from Sskeer and Keev, but also from other Drengir as well? Or is this just like...
Or maybe... the way I read it is that she didn't expect Keev to be just in her mind as well, and it's a dark side light side clash, and Avar even hears the dissonance in her song of the Force.
Totally.
And that I think that just threw all sorts of weird waves into the Drengir at large, And that's when they kind of start making a little bit of progress against the Drengir as they were fighting them.
I think also a Drengir is not what is connecting to Keev. Like, the roots of a Drengir are part of Sskeer at this point. He doesn't have a beak screaming for meat.
Yep.
He's just sort of part of the root mine because he was a tool.
Yeah.
And she's been in the minds of like Sarah and Tarek. And the roots have made their connection, but she stayed in Sskeer for a long time. I feel like Sskeer almost would have been like a bolster to her power.
Yeah.
And I don't think she understood how
Did the fusion
easily...
technique?
Or even like Orbelin and Estalo connecting as well. So like that joint Jedi.
Yeah.
I think
And-
I think their connection here is definitely tested, if not damaged.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But they're all screaming also at once because I think they're all suffering from the drink. I think the Great Progenitor at this point is pissed
and freaking out
and panicking.
Yeah.
Like, she got in my head.
Yeah.
That little Jedi got in my head, and now we're all in danger. And I think there's an element of that, but I think also being completely ripped from something that she really truly thought she had like in the bag,
Oh yeah.
like showed just how vulnerable that they really were. If the damage doesn't happen here, it definitely happens in the next 2 issues.
Totally.
Yeah.
When they come in and they start doing their work.
Right.
This one ends with
Pretty much
the trouble
right
with
here.
telepathy.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And Keev writes down Mulita.
Yeah. That's
and
right.
While she's in there, like,
She scratches the name of the planet.
carves
onto
the name
her,
of the planet into her bracer.
Yeah.
Into her
which is really
little
cool.
gauntlet thing.
It's so good.
And Mulita is like it has something to, Stalamaru has like looks it up and he's like, oh hey, this is where the Nightmare Conjunction happened. And
Yeah, they can't find a name in the Republic records, but they found it in the ancient Jedi ones.
yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
that's where that record goes all the way back to the Nightmare Conjunction. And the Nightmare Conjunction is really fascinating, and this is a quick aside here, but we don't know what the Nightmare Conjunction is. And it's been mentioned multiple times.
In Kevin Scott Works,
In
right?
Cavan Scott Works. Did he write Monster of Temple Peak?
Yes.
Okay, so Cavan Scott really has some sort of idea for the Nightmare Conjunction.
Yeah.
We don't know.
He's pulling some Charles Soule kind of stuff. Yeah.
And the Nightmare Conjunction was tamed by Darth Krall.
Huh.
And Krall, Lord Krall, is a Legends character that you get the Krall Accords in when you beat a certain mission in the Old Republic.
Oh, that's fun.
But like that's like the first like Krall that we
Yeah.
see. And
Kevin
then-
Scott's a huge Legends
He
expanded universe
is.
fan too.
Yeah,
Which I love.
and Lord Krall is not obviously the same as Darth Krall that we know of.
Yeah.
And then of course Darth Krall is not related to Title Krall, which is floating in space still to this day.
Well played, sir.
Wow.
Anyway, it just
Yeah.
Like, you had us both going. We're like,
I was like,
oh,
what
where's
Oh
man.
How many crawls can we put into one sentence?
So Darth Krall is actually one of the Lost 20. And the Lost 20 are 20 different Jedi who became full Jedi Knights, if not Masters, and then fell to the dark side.
or just left the order.
That's cool.
And it's in Cavan Scott's audio drama, Dooku Jedi Lost,
So good.
which actually, I'm not in love with Dooku's voice actor, but Asajj Ventress's voice actor is in
Yes.
that story.
Yeah, and that was actually the first canon mention of the High Republic.
Yeah.
Is in the story.
And interestingly enough, another member of the Lost 20 is Keev Trennis. And we still,
The name?
even now,
It's Master Trennis.
Really?
mentioned-
sorry,
in
not
there, yeah.
Keev Trennis, Master Trennis.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
my
know
god!
if Keev is
I
mentioned or
read
not.
Dooku. That was like one of the first Star Wars books I read in canon, like eons ago. I'm gonna have to reread
Yeah.
that. That is amazing.
And I think it was out in 2016 or 2017.
Yeah. So Darth Krall used to be called Rodaki, and he was a Jedi Master, and he was first mentioned. Yoda mentions him and Trennis as well at that time. But what's interesting is that he did 2 things. He won the Battle of Wasted Years, which we don't really entirely know what that is.
I want to know.
But he also tamed the Nightmare Conjunction. And when you look at the Nightmare Conjunction Wikipedia entry, it says the Nightmare Conjunction was tamed by Darth Krall. They have no idea what it is. And Wikipedia people have read everything. And I even found a conversation of like mod logs of them going, okay, we shouldn't call it this because we don't know what it is. And at one point somebody's like, we literally don't even know if this was like an event or a person or whatever. The Nightmare Conjunction could be an event if an event can be tamed. It could be a person, it could be a creature, it could be a group of creature. Whatever it was tamed by Darth Krall.
Cool.
But what's really cool is that Darth Krall, his lightsaber was in the Bogan collection, which is underneath the Jedi Temple. And Sifo Dyas and Dooku were both like really interested in it, but they learned about Darth Krall from the holo journals of Cleus Terradine. And a little bit of spoilers for a book coming up in like 4 or 5 episodes. Cleus Terradine was Padawans at the same time as Ty Yorick.
Cool.
That
And
is so
Cleus
cool.
Terradine was also, like Sifo Dyas and Dooku, obsessed with like Sith artifacts and trying to be able to purge Sith artifacts.
Yeah.
And for all 3 of those people involved, things did not go well because when you try to mess with things in the Bogan collection and you're just a Padawan, things go badly.
Weird.
Yeah. At one point, one Redditor made a post and he said, and I quote, "The Jedi that hurt Markion's family maybe was Darth Krall, a part of the Lost 20, and the purple cylinder object at the end of Light of the Jedi that Markion's holding is actually the Nightmare Conjunction." Pretty sure none of that happened.
No.
Probably not, but like
This was
interesting
throwing
connections.
when this came out. This was throwing a lot of people like for a loop. They were like, at this point in the High Republic, we don't know why Markion and Markion's family hate the Jedi.
Yeah.
And we also assume it's for a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
And
also that,
more
yeah.
on that later. But the Nightmare Conjunction is just, it's very mysterious.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows what it is other than that Darth Krall had tamed it. And he is a Sith Lord from eons ago, before the Rule of Two. And what Darth Krall did and how Darth Krall was involved with the Great Progenitor is unclear at this point in the book.
Right.
I mean, to me, looking at this, wouldn't it be the Drangir tamed it, and there you have a giant Drangir?
When I was trying to find it earlier, I had that same thought.
Yeah.
Of like, maybe that's what they called the Drangir.
Yeah.
Because they're a nightmarish thing that is all in conjunction with each other.
And even going into the next issue, maybe a good segue, I don't know. We do see Darth Krall is with those 4 statues.
Yes.
On the
which
Imaginary
I wanted to
Yeah.
get to when we get to that.
Yeah.
Yes. So the next issue is called Of Sith and Shadows.
Ooh.
Love it.
And there's another time jump, small one. It's only been a few days, maybe a few weeks. But Keev is having a dream.
She's meditating, right?
Yeah. It turns out she's meditating.
Yeah, we're not really sure. She's in some sort of nightmare. Dream is a rough word. And she sees one of the kids from the planet.
Oh, in the second arc.
The Nile had paid off that one particular big boss guy at that little plantation to like look the other way about kids going missing and people going missing, which tells me that at this point we don't necessarily know that the Nile are seeding,
Right.
but we do know that the Nile know about the Drangir and want people to be hush hush about it so that they can spread a little bit better. They are clearly working together
Yeah.
at this point, but she sees a kid from that same village and she sees
One of the bug things from the first issue
Pixie
of
from her first issue.
the little civilization that she saves to pass her Jedi trials.
One more point for the issue 1 is important to the Drangir story.
But it is not the Drangir story.
Oh my God. I love it.
And then, she
You
sees
too.
a Rodian. And then she sees a spooky ghost lady.
You know, that was so
Which looks
funny.
really familiar to me.
And she calls spooky ghost lady.
I know.
I love that.
Where have you all gone? Canon? Bartol? Spooky ghost lady?
I love Kevin's like humor in some of these comics. They're so good.
He's so
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah.
He's so British.
It's so British.
And then suddenly, out of nowhere, full splash page, some Sith Lord is coming down on Keev, and she is fighting this orc-looking mofo. He honestly looks like, you know how there's Dragonborn in Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes.
He looks like a Rancorborn.
Yeah.
He totally does. Oh my god. Yeah, he's not cute.
God. He's not cute. He's having a rough time of it. And he's got some scars and some cool piercings and a very Rancor mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
so his teeth.
Yeah, and suddenly he's fighting Keev.
Yeah.
And they're having a nice little back and forth. And then as they're fighting, Keev says the harvest will be protected. But it's in like the black font that the Drengir speak.
Yeah. Good call. I didn't see that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And then she says in her little green box, which is normally where her thoughts are, she goes, wait, what did I just say?
So is this, what's his name? Darth Krall?
Darth Krall. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
This is
him.
Darth Krall.
Yes. So
Wait, where did you guys get that he is Darth Krall?
So this was more from the Darth Vader issue number 25 variant cover of Greg Pak's run from 2 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so there was a
looking
really
this up.
cool line of variants of Jedi and Sith. And different Jedi were featured one at a time on each one. Same thing with different Sith, but that was a huge, I guess, intro of this guy that was officially like, oh, this is Darth Krall. Here's his lightsaber.
Yeah, this is his first in-book
wow.
appearance.
Yeah.
Like, this is labeled like a first appearance Darth Krall in like the comic collector scene.
Yeah, this just further supports my belief that the Nightmare Conjunction was the Great Progenitor. Especially
sense.
if, like, she's saying the harvest will be protected.
Yeah.
And it's the Drengir, the Great Progenitor's voice. How interesting. So it's almost like Keev is tapping into the Great Progenitor's fears as she's trying to meditate.
Yeah. And then she's like, I can't move. Why can't I move? And then Spooky Ghost Lady shows up and is like, why do you think? Who's stopping you, Keev? Mm-hmm. And then she sees a group of cloaked figures who look like Sith acolytes. Yeah. Or Sith priests, at least, which Darth Krall, again, pre-Rule of Two.
Yeah, pre-Rule of Two.
And then suddenly we see 4 golden statues and a group of Drengir, and we are clearly on the Amaxian station. What will one day become the timeshare of one Philip J. Snoke. And
I love that tie-in so much. I think I lost my mind when I saw that.
Yeah. And he says, the circle will be forever. And she's like, no. And then suddenly, she wakes up and she cracks a wall and has a bad time. But
Cool.
in this, you see her. She's made of wood. Before she wakes up, like, she's made of wood. And she's become a wood statue, which kind of interesting tie-in to the Edge of Balance series.
Yeah.
Which
I didn't think about that.
In the Edge of Balance, the Battle of Banshee is technically happening right around the same time as the Battle of Mulita, which we're coming up on.
Yeah.
And those Drengir are turning people into wood statues.
They're
in
like
a weird way.
mutant offshoots.
Well, whoa.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Yeah.
But this Darth Krall character is, we see he's got some Romulan hair going on, and he's throwing his hands in the air, and these 4 statues are standing around him. He's like, the circle will be forever. And then she comes to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But she wakes up in the meditation chamber on Starlight Beacon, and in front of her, it's the Prime Jedi from The Last Jedi. And I frickin' love that thing so much. It's mid-level on the tattoos I want to get eventually.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I saw it in the art of book, I'm like, I need this. This is so cool. The idea of it all. I'm really excited for that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I saw that and freaked out.
And that's one of those things I think about the High Republic too, is we get to see so many temples, and we know a lot of these temples were destroyed or went into hiding. Some of them are blown up during the course of the High Republic.
Oh, 100%.
But this particular temple that is on the Starlight Beacon was made during the High Republic, which means it is gilded beyond all get out.
Yeah.
Luke's temple, the first Jedi temple that we see on Ahch-To, is like, there's a Prime Jedi, but it's made of river rock, like little stones, and this is like on the ground, painted, surrounded by gold flake and all that, and it's very ornate. It's interesting to see, like, because this is kind of one of our newest additions to the temples that we probably will see.
Oh, totally.
Before the fall of the Jedi. So yeah, she's being monitored by Dr. Ginole and
Skeer's doctor as well.
Skeer's doctor. Yeah, he's he looks kind of like the worm species from a little bit like the worm species from
Monsters Inc.
So honestly, yeah, he does. He looks a lot like him actually, like Steve Buscemi's character.
Yeah.
Randall.
Yeah.
He looks kind of like Randall.
Yeah.
I know he's not one of the worm species from Solo because they are all way too sensitive to sunlight.
Yeah.
I think
this one's a little more flat.
And he's got a little bit more flat nose, but he is a very interesting alien.
Yeah.
and I
almost
do love that.
centipede-like.
Yeah.
But he notices Keev's heart rate and everything spike. He's like, hey, you all right over there? She's like, I'm meditating. He's like, shouldn't the opposite effect happen?
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, yes. She slams her hand against the wall and cracks it.
Well, before she does that, she puts her hand on the wall and she looks at her reflection, and the reflection is a Drangir.
Yes. It's so good.
Yeah.
She's
kind of losing a little bit.
She's a little messed up.
She's going through some stuff.
Yeah, that mind connection with the Great Progenitor is not turning out very well, is it?
No.
But of course, as she handles the situation, instead of talking it through with the doctor or talking about it with anybody, she runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keev's real bad about asking for help.
I think it's a Jedi problem.
Yeah.
No one asks for help.
No.
That's fair.
Very rarely.
Very
And
rarely.
it's funny because she gets the most, thankfully, she gets the most help, most helpful Jedi that seems to be there. The one who helps Comac, the one who helps Elzar later. Orla Jareni is like Captain Help.
Oh, totally. Well, Elzar was another example of like refuses to get help, where like he's going through all this crap and like definitely needs a therapist. And Orla's like, okay, I've got you. I'm going to come help you and like help you get through all of these feelings and emotions. Yeah.
I do feel like Keev is different than Elzar's not. I mean, they're all bad at asking for help. That's fair. Although Elzar gets better at it. But
Yeah.
Keev, I think her flaw is less, I can handle this myself, because that's the Elzar way. And it's more, if I tell somebody this, they're going to think less of me.
Sure.
She definitely has confidence issues.
And she has she's super, she assumes that she's going to get kicked out of the order. She assumes that she's not going to pass her trials. She
That
assumes
she's not good enough.
All these things about other Jedi and the way they see her.
Or that it proves that she shouldn't have become a Jedi Knight to begin with.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Or that it proves that they were wrong.
Sure.
She's got mad imposter syndrome.
Big time.
And I think a lot of that also comes from just a lack of faith that other people are kind, which is really interesting. And when I first read this, I was like super anti-Sskeer. I was like, of course Sskeer's going all dark side. He's a Trandoshan. Because apparently I'm super racist to Trandoshans. But I was like, I don't know. Seems like the only one who's having trouble with the dark side right now happens to be the Trandoshan and his Padawan. And maybe if they
What are
weren't,
the odds?
skinning Wookiees and hunting younglings, like that 4 episode arc of Ahsoka and the Padawans
Clone
trapped
Wars,
on Clone Wars.
Oh my God, that
That's where
was
we meet
awful.
Chewie, right?
Where they meet Chewie.
Yes,
Like that has, and then of course everything that happens in the Bad Batch. I'm like, no, Trandoshans suck.
We can't trust them.
And now I'm like, nah, Skeer's all right.
I know anytime I tell anyone who hasn't read The High Republic that there's a Trandoshan Jedi, they're just like, what? Like, how? And I was like, it is.
It
like,
works. Trust me, it
Skeer's
works.
amazing. You just need to know him first.
Nature versus nurture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so Keev comes out. She sees Maru. They have a little chat. Maru's in the middle of talking about the Republic Fair that they're trying to set up for with Avar.
Yeah. Well, he's on the holophone with Avar, and
The holophone.
yeah,
Holophone.
and she's
It's a
like,
holo Zoom meeting.
yeah,
He's over on holo Skype.
yeah,
With like 5 monitor screens open.
yeah.
He's a hardcore gamer.
He is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it makes sense. Solid multitasker. But she's like, "Hey, we got him on the reins. Like, we need help." And Master Maru's like, "No, like I get it, but we're spread thin. The Nihil are still kind of popping up. You got a whole bunch of people, and then we're getting ready for the fair." And she's like, "I don't care about the fair. What? No, we need help."
The eye
over
roll.
here."
In
The
that
eye
panel.
roll is
The eye roll is
perfect.
fair.
Chef's kiss.
Force preserve us.
Yeah,
I mean,
Have you been talking to Stellan?
yeah.
yeah. Which is a line.
It's so good. But also, like, I could empathize with this. You've got the Drengir as a massive problem. You've got the Nile, and they still want to go forward with this fair. Like it's in the Outer Rim, it's like a dangerous area. It's not controlled yet from Drengir, Nile, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, why are they still going forward with this plan?
And it's almost like the Republic is in denial about everything that's still going on.
Yeah, Chancellor Lina So is so driven to get this Republic fair under her belt. She knows it's how she needs to like maintain her support in the Republic. But at the same time, it's like at the cost and the risk of all of these other factors.
Yeah.
And I think Lena So at this point is very much in denial. Like she sees the Starlight Beacon opening ceremony in the same way that she sees the Republic Fair. Like if we can do this, it means everything's okay.
Yeah.
And people will believe everything's okay. And really it's then I can prove everything's okay because we pulled this off. And it's like, right, but that's a risk. And it's a risk that Lena So will have to deal with the consequences of later.
Absolutely.
But like Maru says here, the lingering Nihil remnants. Like the Jedi know the Nihil are a problem, but they're not the problem.
Right, yeah.
The Nihil are a remnant group of, there's a couple of factions that we need to chase down because they're occasionally doing dumb things.
Yeah.
Because the Nihil at this point, we've killed Kassav and won the Battle of Kur, regardless of the losses.
Yeah.
This is a point when there is no reason for anyone in universe to really feel that the Nihil are some massive threat. Because the only people who were present on the platform in No Space, what's it called? The Great Hall, watching that speech were the Nihil and us. So
And us.
we're over here going...
Watch out for the Nile.
Yeah.
They're really there.
They're right behind you.
Yeah. Is the Nihil in the room with us?
Yeah.
Markion, hello.
Also, I'd like to point out, every time we see Astalamaru, not only is he looking at 5 different screens multitasking, he's also cross-legged and floating in
the air. Yeah.
With his coffee
calf
cup. Yes.
With his coffee,
floating in space.
Yeah.
Right next to him. Like, who needs a desk with 5 monitors when you can just have 5 little hollow screens being projected from the floor and you can just sit there with your little cup floating next to you?
Yeah.
I love
Like,
everything
Put his
about
down
this.
next to him like he's...
He is handling
space.
5 different situations in a phone call
Yeah.
while levitating his coffee without spilling it and himself.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Astalamaru is a badass.
He truly is.
He's one of my favorites, yeah.
I
Yeah,
adore
me
him.
too.
And his little coral horns. And then we get a little cameo from Velko Jayan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And she's just like, excuse me, got a report from the RSAC sector in category 3. He's like, thanks, Administrator Jayan. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm awesome. Also, well, Jedi Trennis, you may say you wish to make a difference in the Force, as ever, has provided an opportunity.
Yeah.
The question is...
Keev was like, I want to help out, but I don't want to go with Avar.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's kind of all there is right now, and it seems like you need to do that.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm good. He's like, well, here's something else instead then.
Oh, you're right. That is Maru saying that. He looks at it, and then he hands it over to Maru.
Oh.
She hands the thing over to Maru. I see that red hand. All right.
Not
so
lavender.
then even worse. So Maru looks over at Keev Trennis and is like, well, you say you wish to make a difference, and the Force, as ever, has provided you an opportunity. And the question is, can you be trusted to get the job done? And at this point, Maru does have reason. So that makes a lot more sense than say, Velko Jayan saying it.
Totally.
Because she has disobeyed orders to go down to planet more than once.
Yeah. Yeah, she took down that force field to go try and help
the hive mind.
Yeah.
And that worked out great.
Yes.
Then we cut to a moment on an agricultural hub with the Nile chasing down some little fuzzy
farmer scientists.
Farmer
scientists.
scientist.
Yeah.
yeah. And boom, in comes Keev Trennis with a double-bladed lightsaber doing double-bladed lightsaber stuff.
Yeah. Saving these guys. So it's like, oh, cool. She's helping with the force now.
And then out of nowhere,
Well, she's kind of getting run down at this point. She comes in a little hot and kind of gets overwhelmed.
yeah, one knocks her in the head pretty bad.
Yeah. And then she sees Darth Krall.
And then Darth Krall shows up. And he's like, I thought they were hard to kill.
Ooh.
talking about Jedi, and she's like, wait, no! And then, wham!
Yeah.
Big old Fleming thing, and who shows up? Spooky Ghost Lady.
Yes.
For realsies this time.
Orla Jareni.
Yeah.
I love her. She's such a
I
great
love Orla
character.
Jareni
She's like
so much.
top 5, one of my favorites.
She's so good. But yeah, she handles the situation like that, no problem, because she is not being tormented by old Sith Lords and Great Progenitors.
Yeah, she knows what's up.
Yeah.
She knows herself.
I love that she's like, wait, it's you from my vision, Spooky Ghost Lady. And she's like, I am? How exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
She eats it up.
Also, although I usually go by Orla Jareni.
It's so
I
good.
think Orla Jareni, if I could make any directional choice, I would say Orla Jareni should sound like, what is her name? Why, Audrey Hepburn.
Oh.
And just be like, oh, but normally I go by Orla Jareni. Don't worry, darling. It's fine.
Oh my God. I love it.
We'll set a beacon for them to be picked up by the Republic Defense Coalition.
Yeah.
I have important things to do. Stop it.
Oh my gosh.
And not at all like Audrey Hepburn in what's that movie? My Fair Lady.
Oh, totally. Not wielding a double-bladed lightsaber.
You know.
Yeah.
Orla Jareni. Anyway, yeah. So Keev's like, I'm not in the mood for riddles. You want to talk speak basic, please.
Because Orla's doing the whole Jedi Master, trying to impart wisdom without giving it to her straight up. And Keev's like, oh, please don't.
She's like, which temple do you belong to? And Orla's like, none. That's the thing about Wayseekers. We go where the Force leads us, and the Force led me to come here.
Yeah. Is this the first time? This is the first time we meet Orla, and thus the first time we are introduced to Wayseekers?
In comics.
In comics,
comics,
okay. Okay.
Because we know that she went to go
Oh,
be a
yes,
Wayseeker
of course,
at
and,
the end of Into the Dark.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
And so we know she's had some trauma, and we know that she has a real tough time going on missions per the Council's orders.
Mm-hmm. And connecting
which
with
is
others.
Probably really good for someone like Keev Trennis.
Yeah, say it sounds very familiar.
Like Orla is somebody who a lot of Jedi in this era really need. Like they need an Orla to be like, hey, I noticed that you're trying to get help and that the bureaucrats at the council aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can go strip down the rules of the Jedi Order and just talk Force. And maybe that'll help you kind of fix your problem.
Yeah.
Stellan needs her. Elzar needs her. Keev needs her.
Avar.
I need her.
Avar needs her. Brian needs her.
Rachel needs her.
Sskeer needs her too. Like everybody needs. We all need
She's
ourselves.
just the
an Orla.
best.
Yeah.
She has perspective, and she is so outside of the like dogma.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and she even has a white lightsaber,
And she
which means she found some sort of Sith lightsaber and healed the crystals. Two of them, because she's got a double bladed.
Pretty cool.
One that folds up like Dark Ray.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see that like actually exist.
Yeah.
Instead of just in a vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know? No disrespect to that vision. That vision was sick.
That was so
but
I know. It was such a tease. We only saw it for like 5 seconds and we were like, okay, that's it. Moving on.
Yeah.
but they can be double lightsaber buddies, even if their sabers
Are different colors.
different colors and change in different ways.
Yeah.
Keevs are cool because they come apart. But then Keev, oh no, she's got thoughts in her head.
She does
Not
have
thoughts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ran out of words myself there. How to word this?
Oh
Anyway.
my God.
She's having a really good conversation with Orla about everything. It's also like in front of these like scientist farmer people, and they're like, what is going on? And like she's just getting into it. Like the floodgates open and she's like, I can't deal with this stuff because the Drengir root mind spoke to me,
Yeah.
the progenitor, and said like, we're already dead. Like we've
I thought
already
I
lost.
could handle it. I thought I could embrace the darkness and survive, but I can't. I see it everywhere. In my head, on the beacon, even here. And it's because she keeps on seeing both Drengir and Darth Krall. And so Darth Krall clearly has some sort of impact and importance to the history of the Drengir. And then she says, the Drengir root mind, it spoke to me. As Brian said, it's already over.
And you flip the page.
This last
And it's
page
this-
is amazing.
It's so gnarly.
Of like Avar, very dead.
Very-
It's just her
very dead.
skeleton. All that's left is her diadem, and apparently her cloak is still in great
and
condition.
A few random strands of hair.
Yeah. Oh yes, don't forget about
that's
this.
good starching. That's somebody who takes care of her temple robes for sure.
Yeah.
But also roots going into mouths and coming out of eyeballs.
It's so good.
And up in her ribs and under her ribs. And honestly, it's
freaky
so
as
good.
hell.
It's so good.
Freaky.
Like, that's cover worthy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's horrifying.
And it's like images like this remind me that Kevin really likes horror as well. And he always likes to bring it into the High Republic. And I also love horror, so I am here for this.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we talked about it earlier, but a really good horror story would be the Drengir on Coruscant.
Yes.
And you're like, it's all dark and
And you could do it in like the seedy underbelly where it's a couple of kids who are like street rats,
Yeah.
Not to, I feel like that's outside of the context of Aladdin, that's such a terrible
I was gonna
term.
Aladdin? Yeah.
But like a couple of kids, little
Street urchins.
street urchins.
Yeah.
I don't know why urchins and rats both work. I mean, I guess one's a little less. I feel like rats are cuter than urchins, but I don't know. Why don't you weigh in on this?
Ooh. I really like urchins. I'm a little biased though.
Okay, so anyway, you got these little street urchins, running around that are like going about, just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then in this very industrial space, you have this alien creature.
And the upper levels of the Senate don't believe them because it doesn't bother them yet. But as the Drengir grows and gets bigger, it like moves up the different levels and becomes a bigger problem.
Gets up to 1313,
Yes.
takes out some cool bounty hunters.
But then finds like a
Which
UV
is
station.
which is Aliens 2, which is a Space Marines movie, which is more of an action thing. So it's not just being hunted. Now it's actually military, and it's still not working.
The Bounty Hunters Guild is involved. We've got different factions fighting amongst each other about what's happening.
And then,
Look
of
at
course, the third one, when it finally gets up there, then we have to figure out how to, try to capture it because we can use it, for military reasons. And that's when we start getting real, that's the seedy underbelly, but not quite the criminal seedy underbelly, just like
the one just
white
below
collar senatorial
Right, yeah.
seedy underbelly.
White
That's when
collar,
we start having some corruption in the Senate. We've got a whole franchise
We
here.
really
I don't know
have.
what they were
This
doing.
is fantastic.
So that actually
That ends the issue.
ends the issue. Is they're like, oh, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And Orla and Keev are now together, which is great. Sskeer, we don't really know what's going on with him in this
No,
issue.
we don't.
He's not really there.
Yeah, he never showed up.
Estalamaru is multitasking.
Yeah, still running the joint like a boss.
I guess we can assume by omission what Sskeer is doing, and that Sskeer's actually, we find out in the next issue, but like Sskeer is not on the beacon.
Right.
So
He's out and about.
He's out and about.
He's good to go.
So it makes you wonder, especially more like Keev, was by Skeer's side this whole entire time. Like, it goes to show how messed up she is mentally, that she's decided to stay behind and like sit and meditate and try to like work out some of this dark side stuff that she just can't shake.
Yeah. And we see that in other Padawan master relationships too, because Vern, as we'll see coming up in the next couple of issues or next couple of books, is starting to have her own problems as a knight and as a master.
Yeah.
That she should immediately go to Stellan, and instead she's like, I don't want Stellan worrying about this. Like they all have a different way of avoiding something. Like Elzar's like, I can handle this myself. And Keev is like, I don't want them to realize that I shouldn't be here. And Vern is like, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
Like the various ways I don't know. I love that about the High Republic is I feel like so many, you should rely on your family. You should rely on your community. Love is okay. Attachment is not the same thing as caring about somebody.
Absolutely.
All of these ideas are paired with all of these different ways of avoidant behavior when people should have gone to these things, and the fallout of that. Keev is afraid people will realize that she's an imposter, and Elzar, thinks highly of himself, and every one of them is disastrous. Yeah. And Keev is just very lucky that Orla Jareni shows up as fast as she does,
Right?
Because this mysterious, Sith that keeps showing up in her nightmares is important for some reason.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Fun stuff.
Very exciting. Very fun stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on for issues 6 and 7.
No problem. Thank
Can't
you.
wait to have you on again, obviously, because you're just such a joy to be around.
Thanks.
And genuinely, I love your insights on these things. So When it comes to this particular story, these 2 issues, was there anything regarding the lead up to this that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to?
Ooh, not that I can personally think about. I think we talked about the Great Progenetor and the Drengir and how they were being spread, or somehow they were being spread all over the galaxy, and we don't really know why yet. And I just really love talking about Keev and Sskeer's relationship and how Keev was really struggling with her connection to the Great Progenator and her like dark side tendencies from that connection. I think overall it's been a really great conversation. We'll you both for having me on. It's been absolutely amazing. And
Cool.
I hope to
Anytime.
talk with you guys both again soon.
Yeah. I think we'll probably have you on for issue 8 just to finish up this whole arc.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks so much for giving us your time. And in the word of Orla Jareni, after being told that Keev is not in the mood for riddles,
Neither am I. Let me clear this air before we choke to death.
The Starlight Archive is brought to you by Bryce Rankins and Brian Romero. It was edited by Bryce Rankins and Brian Romero. Bryce Rankins designed the logo. Brian Romero did most of the research. It's produced by Bryce Rankins and Brian Romero. And basically, it's just us. The Starlight Archive is brought to you by Sneaky Geek Media 2024. All rights reserved.